Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, OP recounts his marriage to his yoga-loving wife, detailing their successful journey together until he discovers she's been cheating with her yoga instructor. Shocked, he exposes their affair during a vacation, leading to divorce. Despite their accomplishments, he struggles to move on, resenting her lack of remorse. The betrayal leaves him grappling with trust and bitterness, highlighting the pain of deception in relationships. Now let's get into the story. My wife, 31 female, and I, 35 male, were married for 4 years, and I never believed we would live apart until I discovered a shocking truth. From the first time I met my ex-wife, she had always been a yoga lover. Aside from yoga, she was always obsessed with having the perfect body, harnessing her spiritual side and stuff I never understood. In fact, the first day I met her, she was on her way back from one of her yoga classes with her group of friends, and I liked her instantly. She had just graduated from college, and there was this spark she had that I loved about her. She was full of life, laughed a lot, and everything with her was beautiful. I was eating when she came into the restaurant with her other yoga buddies, and I was forced to pay for their meal to get her number. Something about her pulled me closer to her, and I only felt that way once in a blue moon. After I got her number, I called her immediately so she could save mine. And when I returned from work that evening, we spoke on the phone. The end of our conversation resulted in us picking a day to eat together and get to know each other, which turned out to be very successful. From our first date, I discovered that we had much in common and similar interests. Like me, my ex-wife believed there was a way to get successful at a very young age and retire at 50. She was open to trying out new ideas and buying courses that could help improve her, and she even had 2 YouTube channels to her name. Aside from my unexplainable attraction for her, my ex-wife was very intelligent. I guess it had to do with her studying business management, but she was also street smart. Even as friends, she always recommended books, seminars, and things that could help us make it early in life. And this alone was a big green flag for me. Whether it was health, personal development, career, or any wheel of life, my ex-wife always seemed to have everything under control. She was good with everything she did, and I even began to draw motivation from her. I was always looking forward to spending time with her, learning from her, and getting recent updates from her. And because I was one of the few guys who listened to her and praised her for her commitment and discipline, we got close very fast. In a matter of weeks, she knew where I lived, and I knew where she lived too. Even without dating her, I had imagined what it would feel like to spend the rest of my life with her and how much we would grow. Not to brag, but she was different. She wasn't the regular girl who only thought about buying the next shoes, hair, clothes brand, or makeup. For her, it was how to get a big break and return to her, tire for life. She didn't subscribe to the idea of working all her life and enjoying at old age, and I belonged to that school of thought. Eventually, we became good friends, and the more I spent time with her, the more I grew to like her. The good thing was we were both single, and I was open to taking a chance with her. Right from my early teens, I had always loved intelligent girls who would blow me off my feet with their super brains. And I believe my prayers were answered when I met my ex-wife, but I was wrong. We were friends for 7 months before I asked her out. I didn't want to wait any longer before someone else would take her away from me, and from the first month of our relationship, I felt we were made for each other. Months after we started dating, the level at which she influenced me grew too, and many things changed in my life. We were the perfect couple, and every day, I thanked God for meeting her. As of the time we met, I was earning little, but I tried my best to gift her occasionally, even though they weren't expensive. I got her most of those books on business, advertising, and even one popular marketing book. The ads were everywhere. After about 2 years of dating, she got her lucky break. She was contacted to be a business consultant for a top company in our country, which turned things around for us. I worked as a marketer and tried my best to close big deals. Within the first 2 years of dating my ex-wife, I closed deals I could not close in 4 years, and although it wasn't a lot of money, it was a stepping stone for me. Shortly after that, things started to fall into place for us. I improved with marketing, persuading clients, and closing deals. She grew too. We married after dating for 3 years, and our lives continued improving. Before we married, we agreed to not have children until we reached a specific financial goal, and we didn't change the plan. We were driven by early success, and I believed that the same way famous successful men and women had done it, we could do it too. For the first 3 years of our marriage, we put in a ton of effort, had sleepless nights, brainstormed together, started a business, and even sacrificed many things to achieve our dreams. The only luxury we had was the food we ate and the apartment we lived in. We owned one 2005 model car and invested every money we made from our jobs in the business we were trying to grow. Luckily, we had the most significant break in the 4th year of our marriage. Sales skyrocketed, and even top organizations knew about us. In our 4th year of marriage, we decided to go on a vacation, the first after our small honeymoon vacation. I was so excited about it and happy because my dreams had become a reality. We were able to move into a bigger and more comfortable apartment, and our business was doing well. We increased the number of our remote staff, and everything could be handled even in our absence. The money was rolling in steadily, and I was excited, glad my ex-wife and I could finally live the life we had been dreaming of. I envisioned our vacation to be mind-blowing, full of intimacy and rekindling our love, but it opened my eyes to a very painful truth that I can't get over to date. While we were on vacation, my ex-wife was still connecting to her yoga classes online. It was just a part of her I had to deal with. She was committed and never missed a day, whether sick or not. On the 3rd day of our vacation, after we had gone out that morning, we returned to the apartment and rested. That afternoon, she said she was going for a walk and asked if I'd join her, but since I was still sleepy, I told her I would stay back and rest. Unfortunately, after she left, I couldn't sleep anymore and couldn't contact her because she didn't go out with her phone. I became bored and decided to play a game on her tablet. I didn't use my phone because I would wander off and spend the whole afternoon working or conversing with my staff. As soon as I started playing the game, a notification popped up and it was from her yoga instructor. The last message he sent her read, "I love you," and had love emojis at the end, which I thought was odd. At first, I thought her yoga instructor was only being nice to her, but a part of me wanted to learn more. So I clicked on the message, and it opened me to their main WhatsApp chat. What I saw afterward made my heart bleed. I found messages that dated back a year, and there were all forms of voice notes between them. They also exchanged their nudes, said dirty things to each other, and would occasionally make jokes about other members of their yoga class. I could not believe that my ex-wife was cheating on me with her yoga instructor, and she hid it effortlessly. Because we were also so busy on our phones, I never suspected anything fishy was going on. I'd even found out that they were always meeting at different hotels to get intimate, and each time they were together, they made videos of them in bed or in the bathroom together. On that day, I realized that my ex-wife was not obsessed with yoga, but she was obsessed with her yoga instructor. She repeatedly told him she worshipped the ground he walked on and said things to him that she had never told me. According to her messages, he was her spiritual guide and opened her eyes to the real truth. Reading all those weird things and seeing pictures and videos of them together destroyed a part of me. Even if I had been told by a psychic that my wife was cheating or would cheat on me, I would not have believed it. I trusted her with everything, and I wanted more than anything to spend the rest of my life with her. When I had seen enough, I forwarded all the messages, pictures, and videos to my phone and cleared every trace that I had touched her phone. I returned to bed before she returned, but she could tell I was sad about something. She pressed to know what it was, and I lied to her that I had lost a mega deal and felt terrible about it. I pretended to be sick 2 days later, and our vacation was cut short. When we returned, I knew she wouldn't miss her yoga class the next day, and she didn't. An hour after she left that morning, I surprised her at her class, and I asked if I could play something on their general screen in her presence, and her yoga instructor agreed. Immediately, The first video started playing. Everyone gasped in surprise and turned to her and their yoga instructor. I watched my ex-wife stand there in confusion with tears in her eyes. She had tried to walk closer to me but ended up running out of the hall in embarrassment. Her yoga instructor tried to hide his shame, but I played the recording too, and everyone saw their messages. It was such a big mess. When I got home, I realized that she had moved some of her things out of our room, and she left a small note which read, "I'm sorry." And that was the end of the road for us. We ended up divorcing and splitting every money we made from the business. And as for her yoga instructor, he was fired, and neither he nor my ex-wife Deard showed her face at the facility again. I knew I could survive without her, but despite everything we had achieved together, I still hate her for doing what she did to me. She couldn't even face me to apologize or something. She just dropped a note. We haven't spoken to each other since then, and it's been 2 years now, and I've still been struggling to move on. It's terrible how good men always end up with unappreciative women. Today's second story. In this story, Opie discovered his wife was cheating after moving to Washington for his job. Despite suspicions, he confirmed her infidelity through incriminating texts and videos with a coworker. He secretly filed for divorce, presented evidence to her boss, and gained custody due to a prenup clause. The wife's actions may have stemmed from resentment over the move, but communication could have prevented the betrayal. Now let's get into the story. I, 32 male, have been with my wife, 30 female, for 10 years. We met in college and have always had a classic storybook kind of romance. That is until recently when we moved across the country to Washington. I had a job opportunity we couldn't pass up, and we both agreed it was the best thing for our family to move. Even though she agreed, I could sense some resentment from her. She recently found a new office job that is perfect for her skills and career ambitions. Everything started to feel normal again. We were both happy and our kids would have more opportunities thanks to the move. After a few weeks, I noticed she was coming home later than normal. When I questioned the delay, she told me she was stuck at the office filing some paperwork. I chalked it up to her being the new kid on the block and taking over a lot of the grunt work. I started to get suspicious about it when she would only reply with vague details or brush off my attempts to ask her about her work. I've never wanted to be the controlling or nosy spouse, so I asked her if there was something going on and she said no. She always insisted that she was just working and she was the only one there, and she wanted to get out as quickly as possible because of that. She made it seem like I was crazy for even thinking about it, and I believed her. The company Thanksgiving opened my eyes to what was really going on. Not long after arriving, a man walked over to me and introduced himself. Let's call him Ned. Ned was my wife's work husband, and he introduced himself to me as such. He seemed friendly at first, but it would have taken a blind man not to notice how he looked at her. Ned was a married man, and I met his wife that night too. We discussed how much our respective partners do for the company and how we hoped the bosses would keep that in mind for the upcoming Christmas bonuses. Then she mentioned how Ned was always staying late to make sure they were caught up on work. As soon as she said that, my suspicions were confirmed, and I knew there was something going on between them. There wasn't any point in confronting my wife because she would just lie to my face again. So I did what I never wanted to do: snoop. One night after she'd gone to bed, I grabbed her phone to look through it. She'd changed the passcode, which was strange because we had always shared each other's passcodes, but I was able to open it with Face ID. I searched through the messages and found dozens of messages between her and Ned. They were all very suggestive and sexual, and there was clear evidence that they'd been sleeping together in the office. The real kicker was when I looked through her photo gallery. Apparently, Ned had been filming them, and he sent one of the videos to my wife. They were very clearly in the office when it was filmed too. I airdropped the video to myself, so I'd have a copy of it for my own evidence, and I pretended like nothing happened. I met with a divorce attorney in secret and filed with them so she couldn't say or do anything to interfere with my plans. I scheduled a meeting with her boss to show them the video. I arrived with my lawyer and we invited my wife and Ned into the boardroom with clear glass walls and no curtains, mind you, and played the video Ned recorded for him. We printed out copies of the messages and handed them to her boss to read over too. He was appalled by what he'd seen. He even backed away from the table we were at because that was the table used in the video. They were both fired on the spot. My wife looked at me with a horrified expression and ran over to me to question why I did that. I didn't say anything. Instead, my lawyer handed her an envelope filled with our divorce papers and a copy of the prenuptial agreement her affair was clearly in violation of. She threatened to fight it in court, but because infidelity was the major clause of the prenup, she didn't have a leg to stand on. Because she didn't have a job and had proven herself to be dishonest, the courts ruled in my favor for custody. She ended up having to move back home to live with her mother while I stayed in Washington with the kids. OP, first of all, I'm sorry you had to go through all of that. It almost sounds to me like she was cheating out of spite for moving. But if she was so resentful about it, why did she agree in the first place? If it was truly something she was unhappy with, the best thing to do is communicate with your partner. Even if you were dead set on going, her honestly telling you she couldn't and suggesting divorce would have been better than cheating. You gave her the opportunity to tell you the truth, and she continued to lie. I can't help but wonder how long she and Ned would have continued their affair had you not discovered it. It sounded like she was trying to manipulate you when you asked about an affair too. It's clear that her family wasn't a priority for her, and it's probably a good thing she's back with her mother and you have the children. I'm glad you're away from her, and I wish you and your children the best.